Assalamualaikum and good day. We are Group 5 and our topic is Global Environmental Issue. Our group consists of 5 members, which is Mayalestari, Wong Wye Yue, Lau Cheng Mun, Nurul Asyiqin and Muliani Verin. We're going to start our presentation with an introduction.
Introduction. Global environment refers to an environmental factor that have an impact on the entire world. To put in another way, the global environment includes all of the world's local, regional, and national ecosystem. Natural catastrophe, air, water, and soil quality, as well as climate change, are the example of global environmental issue that no single town or nation can manage or solve. Indirectly, global environmental issues are concerns that have the potential to have large cultural and environmental consequences. These global environmental difficulties manifest themselves in a variety of ways, including natural disaster, environmental concern, political crisis, social problem, and economic crisis. The Earth has reached an unsustainable level, mostly as a result of human activity, and is it now our duty and responsibility to reduce the losses to the nature? This issue can be handled on global, political, and organizational level, as well as the individual level. There are many well-known international environmental organizations and projects, such as United Nations Environment Programme, UNEP, Worldwide Fund for Nature, WWF, and Global Environment Facility, GEF. United Nations Environment Programme is in charge of organizing the UN system response to environmental issues. UNEP mission is to provide leadership and encourage partnership in caring for the environment by inspiring, informing, and enabling nations and people to improve their quality of life without compromising that of the future of generations. Worldwide Fund for Nature, or WWF, works to help local communities conserve the natural resources they depend upon, transfer market and policy towards sustainability, and protect and restore species in their habitats. It is ensured that the value of nature is reflected in decision making from a local to a global scale. While Global Environment Facility, or GEF, is a financial mechanism that provides grants funds to developing countries for projects covering full focal area, climate change, biodiversity, international water, and ozone depletion. Despite the fact that the consequences of environmental deterioration are not particularly appealing, people continue to be oblivious of them. Environmental pollution is a big issue that must be addressed in order to save our world. To reduce pollution, we must adopt a variety of strategies: planting trees, minimizing the use of non-renewable resources, effective trash disposal, and other measures are among them. Human life is made possible by our natural environment, and our cultural environment shape who we are. As a result, it is critical that our population and economic expansion be environmentally sustainable. Therefore, each individual must be self-aware of a global environment challenge and attempt to prevent and treat our planet in order for it to be a healthier. Deforestation. Forests cover about 30% of the land area on the earth, but they are disappearing from the earth at an alarming rate. Since 1960, human activity have greatly accelerated deforestation. Agriculture accounts for a large part as a driving factor of deforestation. Agricultural products such as beef, soybean, and palm oil, as well as the forestry product, are the leading causes of deforestation. Beef has the greatest impact on the deforestation of all of them. Forests have been cut down in many parts of the world, including Brazil and Latin America, to build or expand pasture for cattle, thereby meeting global demand for beef, milk, and cattle products. However, the majority of global soybean production is used as a livestock feed. Dough is also used in a large quantity to make a vegetable oil and biodiesel rather than tofu or soy milk. As a result, the market for palm oil is in high demand, resulting in a rapid deforestation. Besides, forestry products are the third largest driver of deforestation. In most tropical countries, forestry products come from the logging of primitive rainforests or the replacement of plantation. Forestry products are mainly used in housing construction and the manufacture of countless consumer products as well as a pulp made from tree fibers to produce paper and other related products. On the other hand, with the expansion of global urbanization, population migration from rural to urban areas and the construction of more infrastructure, such as road and railway, have increased, resulting in a decrease in the tolerance of natural boundaries. The global population growth and the increased demand for food consumption have led to many forests being cut down and converted into residential, industrial and commercial uses just to meet the endless need of the global population, which has led to the endless illegal deforestation. The massive deforestation has caused the world to face a devastating crisis. Sadly, human beings sacrifice the long-term benefit that forests can bring to people for short-term benefit, not only causing global warming and climate change, but also reducing global oxygen supply and extinction of biodiversity. Global warming. Global warming is the long-term warming of the Earth's climate system observed since the day of the diabetic industry between 1850 and 1900 due to the human activity, the burning of fossil fuels, and increasing the greenhouse gases. As we all know, greenhouse effects are the main factor that causes global warming. The greenhouse effect or climate change occur as the atmosphere trap heats divergent from the world into space. The increasing of industrial and agricultural activity also have contributed to the global warming phenomenon. In the last 150 years, the industrial activity of our modern civilization have increased the level of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere from 280 parts per million to 414 parts per million. Since the Industrial Revolution, people have consumed carbon dioxide into the atmosphere by fossil fuels like coal and petroleum. Some of it comes from heat and electricity produced by industrial machinery as well as other industrial process and transportation, such as car, truck, train, and aircraft powered by gasoline or diesel. In addition, agricultural account for a large part of greenhouse gas emission. Lastly, Earth's own feedback loop also a driving factor that causes global warming. When we burn fossil fuels to produce electricity, heat and more, they release greenhouse gases such as carbon dioxide and methane, which trap solar energy in the Earth's atmosphere as a heat. This process was known as a feedback loop and it has an enormous consequences for the planet.
Next, the issue is overpopulation. Since the immortality rates and the mortality rates differ, global population would become increasingly unsustainable environment, resulting in a global issue known as the overpopulation. This overpopulated current world situation is driven by the several national reasons. Firstly, one of the driving factors in the overpopulation issue is poverty. We can see that the impact is immense. Around the 95% of the global population growth is happening in the third world. The term third world particularly associated to a slow progress country, underdevelopment country or a backward country, more precisely in the urban areas of developing world. Second, with rapid progress in the modern world, scientists have developed more advanced medicine to treat sick people and save the life of people who are sick. The emergence of contemporary medical and high technology research will increase the birth rates and decrease death rates. This will lead to an excessive population growth indirectly. Uncontrolled immigration into international location might also additionally bring about a population explosion to the factor in which the one international location not have a sufficient source to aid their population. In developing countries are likely to relocate to developed countries due to the better facilities, securities, education and employment opportunity. In some cases, immigrants may be attempting to escape overpopulation in their home country only to contribute to the same problem in the country to which they relocate. The fourth issue that we choose is pollution. Alright, this could be accomplished by the adding toxins into the natural world which do not have to be visible. Pollution are created when the basic object, for example light, sounds and the global temperature are chemically added into the atmosphere. There were also many different types of pollution such as noise pollution, light pollution, land pollution, water pollution, and the most dangerous is the air pollution. According to the data in IHME, we see that the air pollution does bring many deaths in these years. However, pollution driving factor was well worth exploring. First and the foremost, one of the driving factor in the air pollution is the burning of the fossil fuels. Hydrocarbons are the basic material of petroleums and generators do not burn them cleanly. The density of vehicles on the road such as buses, vehicles, airplanes and helicopters is a source of the increased pollution because it has high emission rates of pollution. Agriculture operation were also a driving factor that release a variety of toxic pollution in the environment and even will pollute the air, the land, and quality of the water. Ammonia, for example, is a natural byproduct of agriculture operation and one of the most dangerous gases in the atmosphere. In addition, manufacturing facilities have greatly contributed to the order of the magnitude increasing in emissions that have to be dealt with due of lifestyle habit. Toxic substance emitted by the manufacturer and a toxic substance emitted by the cars and through increasing our risk of chronic lung disease, heart problems, and various other cancers, disease, and conditions. And the last issue is the natural resource depletion. Natural resources are those that occur without the intervention of humans. Both valuable properties such as magnetic, gravitational, and electrical properties and force are included. The natural resource of the state may be divided as a renewable and non-renewable assets. So according to the global estimate, we are depleting over 19 billion natural resources per year, including woods, mineral, and fossil fuels, 3 times more than in 1970 and projected to double by 2015. Current styles of electricity and herbal aid use, agricultural practice, and urbanization appear like in a large part unsustainable and require pressing remediation. The major causes of natural resource depletion are defined by a few factors. However, the following are the most important reasons. First, increasing population or overpopulation. World population is projected to reach 8 billion in 2023, 9 billion in 2037, and will reach 10 billion people in 2055. The increase in world population is moving in line with the depletion of natural resources because the demand for their use will increase so rapidly that it can lead to be the resource security in the end. Next factor is modernization and industrialization. The excessive use of a natural ingredient and the raw material in every industry have factories that emit chemical and chemical byproduct that ultimately end up in ocean, soils, and the land are also expanding. So the last driving factor is the contamination of natural resource. Pollution of natural resources is a matter of the great concern as it leads to a marked depletion of the natural resources. This is because if natural resources have been polluted, how can the resource be obtained? Moreover, sources such as water and air. So these are among the three causes that are seen as the main factors leading to the degree of the issues. However, there are still some things that are also the cause of the issue of the depletion of natural resources, such as the use of incorrect farming techniques, rising of the price of a natural resource, and also the development of infrastructure and population. Natural resource loss has far-reaching implications not just for human beings, but also for the environments. So that's all for me. I will pass to the next presenter.
Now I will talk about the challenge confronting international community to address and overcome global environmental issues. In the process of solving and overcoming these global environmental problems, the international community is faced with many different challenges. The international community needs to find a suitable solution and constantly modify them to achieve the effectiveness of eliminating the global environmental problems. This can be evaluated by using three different levels of analysis of international relations, namely system, state, and organization level. First, system level of analysis. By looking at the international framework, system level analysis examines state action. The international system is the source, and state action is the consequence. In this situation, the most noticeable shift in the international system is the rapid growth of globalization and deglobalization, which has become a major global concern due to its effects on the environment. Many people agree that the advance of globalization has affected the environment, resulting in global environmental concerns. A significant number of environmentalists who support this viewpoint argue that globalization increased global demand, which contribute to increased development. This led to environmental exploitation and natural resource depletions in indirect way. Iran, which is actually experiencing economic stagnation, is a prime example of this. As a result of this situation, the nation is become less integrated into the global economy. As a consequence, domestic manufacturing has a negative environmental impact. As a result of the crude oil import ban, Iran began processing its own crude oil, which has a 10 times higher emission rate than the oil it imports. Environmental diplomacy is used to handle the issue, which involve a wide range of participants and address concerns and activities related to environmental conservation. The borderless world and challenges are still being debated on a multilateral level. This environmental diplomacy was aided by the United Nations Environmental Programme (UNEP) and the Environmental and Safety Initiative (NVSEC). The United Nations Environment Programme is the top environmental authority in the United Nations system. UNEP and ENVSEC have a strong foundation for dealing with environmental issues, including multilateral collaboration with the UNDP, the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, and even the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. There are also some efforts that have been made through international agreements and international policy. For example, the Forest Stewardship Council (FSC) authorized SGS forest management certification, which notifies buyer that the timber comes from a forest that has been assessed and certified as being managed according to appropriate social, economic, and environmental standards. State level of analysis. States are dedicated to safeguarding and conserving the environment of their countries and the world. To strike a balance between developments and environmental preservation, many policy and legislations, including rules and projects, have been implemented. Even nevertheless, despite different efforts that have been and are being made, environmental conservation awareness remains low. The lack of awareness among peoples, as well as a lack of cooperation between the peoples and the governments, are difficult that must be addressed. The extent to which citizens believe that it should be the responsibility of government to safeguard the environment as a general concept determine public support for environmental initiatives. As a result, if people believe that safeguarding the environment is the government responsibility, they are more likely to fund government spending for the environment. Furthermore, the government rules in environmental protection is far from clear, as ineffectiveness and corrupt governments as a whole appears to weaken public support for crucial environmental policy making. How states overcome the environmental issues? Most of it through environmental law and policy. Land, air, water, and soil are all covered under the environmental law. Fine networks, service, and also prison times are a punishment that's given for those who breaking the rules under environmental law. The authorities might be not able to prosecute anybody who damages the surrounding without those environmental law, which means environmental law is very important to be established in every country. Organization level of analysis. Through the level of analysis, we can see that the common challenges faced on this level are the lack of cooperation given by the members of organization. They have different opinions in facing the pollutions in globals and also cannot decide the best way to overcoming it. And they also some of organization member that absolutely does not care about the environmental issue. For example, if it may be difficult for big organizations or companies to cooperate to implement countries' environmental policy, as each country has different guidelines. Especially in the fields of industry and services, various agencies and companies does not care about the natural environmental as long as they are not subject to legal action and as long as they gain profit. In overcoming this challenge and the global environmental issues, many profits and non-profit organizations was established. For example, in order to strengthen environmental law and unite international politics, the Center of International Environmental Law (CEL) is a non-profit environmental law firm that established in the United States. CEL, in the interest of human rights, environmental protection, and health society, CEL uses a legal system. It has an internship program that is specific tailored for help educate the future generation that will continue to strive for a better and more prosperous world. This encourages companies in one country to cooperate with environmental organizations and external environmental consultants specialists in helping companies ensure that practices are environmentally friendly. External agencies and consultants can also check the process and practice to see whether improvement can be made, such as the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, is a federal agency for the protection of human health and the environment. They provide research and guidelines on how better to protect the environment in addition to law and regulation.
Next, here is a set of recommendations to overcome each of the global issues mentioned above. In terms of deforestation, the first way is to reduce consumption. People have high demands on the earth and have an unsustainable ecological footprint. Therefore, people should start to reduce consumption, especially meat and dairy products. This will decrease human consumption demand. The production of commodities may slow down, thereby reducing the probability of forests being deforested. Next, reduce buying products containing palm oil. This is because a large number of products around the world contain 50% or more of palm oil. However, because some products will cover up products' ingredients in many different forms, it's difficult to completely avoid using them. Hence, the best way is to stop using products containing palm oil. As people reduce the use of commodities containing palm oil and replace them with products that use fewer chemicals and preservatives, the demand for deforestation will decrease. In response to global warming, one of the most effective strategies is to focus on green innovative technology in research and development R&D. Green technology is related to clean tech, which refers to goods or services that increase operation performance while lowering costs, reducing energy usage, reducing waste, and reducing negative environmental impact. For example, green technology can be used for energy-saving operations such as non-energy lighting. Moreover, compared with fossil fuels, the use of green technology also makes alternative fuel sources more eco-friendly. Next, in terms of overpopulations, the most successful way of lowering fertility rates and achieving sustainable population measures that value the Earth's carrying capacity is to empower women. The number of years a woman spends in school is normally inversely proportional to the number of children she would have in her lifetime. According to studies, women with access to reproductive health care are more likely to rise out of poverty, and those who work are more likely to use birth control. Therefore, the United Nations Population Fund is working to solve many of these challenges at the same time, with microcredit programs aimed at empowering young people to campaign for reproductive health. Despite the availability of contraceptives, their uptake and use are limited due to a lack of education, cultural acceptance, male partner rejection, and cost. We must also overcome serious social cultural hurdles to responsible family planning, in addition to allowing universal access to modern contraception, effective healthcare, and decent information.
The next is pollution, the act of rendering soil, water, air, or other aspects of the atmosphere dirty, unhealthy, or unfit for use is known as pollution. First and foremost, one of the driving factors in air pollution is the burning of fossil fuels. Sulfur dioxide free from burning of fossil fuels equivalent to coal, fossil fuel for electricity in power plants, and different plant fuels is one among the leading causes of air pollution. Hydrocarbons are the fundamental material of petroleum and generators. The density of vehicles on the road, such as buses, vehicles, airplanes, and helicopters, could be a supply of hyperbolic pollution as a result of its high emission rates of pollutants such as PM and nitric oxide, and also carbon monoxide, organic compounds, and lead. We depend heavily on these forms of transport because they are part of our everyday basic needs. Agricultural operations were also a driving factors that release a variety of toxic pollutants, and even will polluted the air, the land, and quality of our water. Ammonia, for example, it is a natural byproduct of agriculture operation and one of the most dangerous gases in the atmosphere. In farming operations, the use of insecticides, nutrients, and fertilizers are increased significantly. Besides, farm workers often burn the fields and grains to clean them up for sowing in next year or next round. This is because after this process, the quality of soil will become better and more suitable for planting good grains. This action often occurred in India. The pollution of fields for disinfect them is said to pollute the environment by emitting poisonous gases. In addition, manufacturing facilities have greatly contributed to the order of magnitude increase in emissions that have to be dealt with due to lifestyle habits. Toxic substances like emitted by manufacturers and toxic substances emitted by cars and trucks increase our risk of chronic lung disease, heart problems, and various other cancers and conditions. A lot of effort has gone into regulating, licensing, and controlling factory pollution in countries like Canada. They were much developed countries lack such stringent regulations because even though it does, they would not be strictly applied. In a nutshell, we have stated 5 global issues, which is deforestation, global warming, overpopulation, pollution, and also natural resources depletion. In this discussion, we have looked at 5 very serious global environment issues. In general, it can be concluded that each global environment problem has its own driving factors as well as its own effects. However, it is noted that these issues are interrelated with each other. One of the biggest factors for this rise in the population and the excessive human appetite for more and life's conveniences. Planet Earth will quickly lose a large portion of its natural capital if we do not address this issue now. This would have a significant effect on both human and the climate. The purpose of economic and social growth will be accomplished by ensuring that the environment, whether existing or emerging, is sustainable. To address global environment challenges, attitude change must be priorities. If we continue to have a negative mentality about the world's climate, the day will come that life on Earth will be endangered. It is beyond time for us to recognize that our activities are harming the Earth and its wealth, and that we must protect rather than kill them by unethical behavior. Only then would the planet be able to survive. Thank you.